Hello, my name is Katie Brewer, and I am a Risk Management Analyst here at Interwest Insurance Services. This video is a brief introduction to Interwest's risk management platform. I will be discussing some of the great features and applications that this platform has to offer. You can find more information about the platform by visiting www.iwins.com or by contacting your Interwest broker. You can also find my contact information if you have any questions about how to navigate the platform or how to start using it. So let's get started. When you first log into the platform, you'll be taken to the home screen, from which you can access all of the various applications, resources, and administrative functions to navigate the platform. Some key things to point out are this search bar, which allows you to quickly search all of the resources in the risk management library, which we will go over later, and some quick links which are customizable. So if there are any features that you frequently access and want to have quick access from the home screen, you can customize and set those up as well. The notifications and alerts section will tell you if there are any past due trainings or any trainings that are coming up or any other notifications that the platform thinks you might want to know. Jumping into the administration tab, this is where I usually like to start my tutorials because I feel that it lays a foundation for understanding what the platform itself does and what it can do for you. Moving down the list, we have Manage Users, and a user is going to be anybody who has access to the risk management platform. So this isn't going to be all of your employees. It might be your managers and your supervisors, or just anybody who needs to have access to any of the library materials or access to their employee information. Manage Roles is where you can set different permission levels for all of the different users on the platform. So for example, if you wanted to have everybody be an administrator and have access to every single thing on the platform, that's perfectly fine. But if you have some people that are accessing the library materials or just accessing training track or incident track, but you don't want them to access, any of the library materials or what have you, you can set and switch on and off those settings as you see fit. Departments and supervisors are just filtering mechanisms. They kind of help if you're scheduling trainings for a large block of your employees. You can assign those trainings to just an entire department, and it can kind of eliminate that needing to click on individual employees and assigning one by one, and that can be really useful for expediting the training process for yourself. Manage Employees is where you're going to set up all of your employees, including the ones who have access under the Manage Users section. So this is going to encompass everybody. In order to access trainings or in order to be linked with a work-related incident, if you're using Incident Track, you need to store your employees' information under Manage Employees. This is going to give them access to something called the Employee Portal, and this is where your employees are going to be accessing their trainings if you're using Training Track. This is a separate website that kind of separates from the platform and keeps everybody's information private, and it kind of streamlines the training process for your employees as well. One quick thing to mention about Manage Employees is, as you'll notice, the field for work email address is not required. However, I do strongly recommend that you enter an email address for your employees. Otherwise, they will not be able to receive the welcome email or any of the training notifications that contain their username, password, and company ID that they need to get their training. You'll see that it does require the work email address if you do check the Send Employee Portal welcome email, and then once you save it, will send out that email. For companies who have employees that don't have their own work email address, I do usually suggest they enter either a supervisor's email address, the employee's personal email address, or the email for a trusted coworker, just somebody who can receive those email notifications and then relay that information to the employee. Once you have everything else set up, we can move on to resources. So the resources tab is where you're going to be accessing the main bulk of the information on the risk management platform. This is where you'll access the library, you can access an HR and benefits library, and you can access my content and Ask the Safety Expert. And I'm going to touch on those as well. Starting off, we're going to enter the risk management library. This is where they have another search box similar to the one on the home screen, and you can quickly search through all of the different resources that we have. So if we just type in, for example, if we're looking for anti-harassment training, we can just type in anti, and it'll pull up all of the related materials, including online trainings, policies and procedures, posters, all of the different materials that relate to anti-harassment. And as you've maybe noticed, you'll see this button called Add to My Content. And so any of the resources that are not online trainings, but they could be policies and procedures or training shorts, you can select the checkbox to add those to your My Content folder, and that will allow quick access to those materials, just so you don't have to search through all of this information every single time. You can kind of set up folders kind of like your Outlook email and kind of organize everything that way. Moving down the list, as I mentioned, My Content. This is a really great resource because not only can you save the different materials from the risk management library, but you can also upload and save your own documents and links to the resource library or to My Content. And this is really great because all of the users that you add are able to access this same My Content folder. So it creates kind of a nice shared space where you can all store documents and share them. And then if you see fit, you can also, by clicking on that little piece of paper icon, you can assign it to employees and it'll show up in their employee portal as an assignment. So you can also share documents with employees. And that's a really great resource as well. Also, as I mentioned on this list, you have access to a resource called Ask the Safety Expert, and this is where you can submit questions on any safety-related topic, industrial hygiene, occupational safety, or you can submit any HR question, and I will receive that in my email inbox, and we will forward it to Holden Law Group for you, and you will get a response back usually within 24 hours from a certified HR labor law expert, which is a really cool feature, and this is available to you at no cost as well. For any of the risk management related questions, those also come to my inbox, and then I will distribute those questions accordingly to somebody from our risk management team here at InterWest. And then you'll get a response from a safety professional on your question as well. Moving over from resources, moving to the applications, we have a bunch of different applications. We have 9 of them, or rather 8 of them, available to you. I'm going to go over some of the main ones, and if you have any other questions, you can reach out to me. My contact information is available on InterWest's website, and I can help you out further from there. So the first one I'm going to jump into is Training Track. I'm going to start at the bottom of the list and kind of work my way up. Training Track by far is one of the most commonly used applications just because it's really useful for companies that have a lot of employees that need training. We offer on the platform, we have 1 hour and 2 hour trainings for the anti-harassment that was put into effect and required in California in 2019. So the way to schedule the trainings is to click schedule, assign a due date. I usually recommend just making the due date like 2 or 3 weeks down in the calendar. And this gives your employees plenty of time to complete their training, but it also keeps it within the 30-day window that the platform has set by default, where within 30 days of the training being due, it will show up in the employee's employee portal list. So if it's scheduled outside of that range, the employee won't be able to access their training yet. They need to wait for the training to become available. An easy fix for that is to just change the due date for the employee, or to schedule the training at a closer date. You can search the training course. I'm just going to use anti-harassment as an example. And here's where I mentioned the filtering mechanism for scheduling by department. You can just select a department and add all of those employees, or you can schedule by employee and go through the list and click on everybody one by one. As you can see, these trainings are available to you at no cost. Once you've selected all of the employees that you want to train and all of the trainings you want those employees to receive, I always recommend checking this box because it'll immediately send out an email to them that contains which trainings they are assigned to, their username, company ID, password, and a link to the employee portal. So everything they need to get started. Once you hit confirm, you will be redirected to this same page that you were taken to when you first entered Training Track, and this is a list of all of the online trainings that have been scheduled but not completed yet. And so this is a great snapshot of who still needs to complete their training and when they were told that it was due by. As I mentioned, if you have, for any reason, an employee who tells you, hey, I can't get my training done by the date that you said, can you extend the due date? Or if you scheduled the training due date and you set it for way too far in the future by accident, you can also push the due date back. Just select which employee or which training you're wanting to reschedule and click reschedule and select a new due date. And that will adjust the due date in their employee portal and allow them to either access the training that they need or will extend the due date for that as well. So right now we're in the Schedule tab. Moving on to the History tab, this is going to display a list of all of the past trainings that have been completed. And this is also where you can retrieve certificates for those completed trainings. So this is great for compliance reasons as well. And employees through the employee portal do have access to these certificates also. The reports section is where you can access a bunch of different reports, report types, including training records by employee. You can go down the list and explore these. I'm not going to go into them one by one, but basically you can just run reports and it'll generate in either PDF or Excel format for you to kind of get a good quick snapshot of your training record. Moving on, we're going to move to Incident Track now. This application is for tracking any workplace injuries, any general liability claims, anything like that. You can track near misses. This is also where we need to have employees logged in the system because each of these incidents is linked to the specific employee that was involved. So you can easily see when someone is having repeated injuries or is often involved in different injuries or incidents, things like that. Another great feature of the platform is if you have a lot of information that you want to enter at once, you don't need to enter everything one by one because that can be really time consuming. The platform does provide import spreadsheets that you can use to import various types of incidents. So just download the spreadsheet and it will pull up on your computer. And you are then able to enter a bunch of different pieces of information at once. A really great thing about this spreadsheet too is if the employee, if you for some reason forgot to enter them before you were logging this incident, if you enter the employee's first name and last name and it doesn't recognize them as an existing employee, it will add their information to the employee portal, to the Manage Employees section, and it'll save you a step there. So all of the information in yellow is required, and then everything else is optional. And then once you save this spreadsheet, you can upload it to the platform, import it, and it will then populate all of your incidents into this list. Another great feature that I really like about the incident track is the trending option. And here is where you have a bunch of different visual representations of the data that you entered. And I think this is really great because it can help you kind of identify where your problem areas are and help you focus your risk management efforts on preventing those types of injuries. You can use Incident Track to generate your 300 log, your 300A, and it can save you a lot of time because it takes all of the information that you've entered throughout the year and spits it into a format that OSHA recognizes. Moving on again, we also have COI Track, or Certificates of Insurance, and here's where you can enter any certificates that your vendors or your subcontractors give to you, and you can set up limits of liability. You can set up alerts for if a particular certificate is expiring soon or if it doesn't meet your limits that you set. And you can also set up the COI Track to not only notify you that a certificate might be expiring, but can also notify your vendor or your subcontractor and remind them that their certificate is expiring. So it's a really great way to stay on top of your certificates of insurance. And so that kind of wraps up just a brief overview of the risk management platform. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if you have any additional questions, my contact information is available on the Interwest website. That's iwins.com. Or you can find my contact information if you want to reach out to your broker, and we can help you, get some more information about either getting started or answer any questions that you might have. So I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed learning about the risk management platform. Have a good day.